are going to go ahead and transition into part 2 of Senior Sermon School. And it is my pleasure to introduce 2 ladies, Miss Brenda Kennedy and Miss PJCCMHA Underwood. I'm going to introduce Miss Brenda Kennedy first. Miss Brenda Kennedy is the coordinator of the Prevention of Blindness program. Brenda got her bachelor's degree at the University of Missouri, Columbia, and her master's degree from Lincoln University in the counseling program. She started working with rehabilitation services for the blind in 1993 as a vocational counselor for the blind and became the coordinator of Prevention of Blindness program in 2005, which pays for eye care for people across the state with low income and no insurance. She has been working with vision and vision-related issues in government programs her entire career. Since her work with the Prevention of Blindness program helps people with low income, she tries to research options available for eye. When not at work, you would typically find her at home this time of the year fighting against the Japanese beetles, which really likes her apple trees and blackberries. On a side note, if you donate $1 at the License Bureau to help the blindness education screening treatment, which is Best Fund, it pays for the vital eye care we provide throughout our program. And you're supporting this very worthy cause. Please hold your applause. Our next presenter, of course, will be Ms. PJCCMHA Underwood. PJCCMHA Underwood taught junior high and high school band and choir for 25 years. For 6 years, she structured and implemented the at-risk program for high school. She also volunteered and worked at a local no-kill animal shelter for over 20 years. PJCCMHA started losing vision at the age of 29, but adapted over the years to continue teaching. When PJCCMHA retired from education, she continued to work at the animal shelter. But at several times in her life, PJCCMHA had benefited from services through rehabilitation services for the blind. So after her retirement, she decided to get a big girl job and go to work for rehabilitation services for the blind. She has been working for 2 years at as a rehabilitation teacher, where she helps others learn to make the best use of their remaining vision or learn techniques for living with no vision. She finds it very rewarding. Without further ado, please welcome Ms. Brenda Kennedy and Ms. PJCCMHA Underwood.
So I'm Brenda Kennedy, so I'll start first. Again, appreciate you guys inviting us today in order to talk to you. I do never think that public speaking is my forte, so if you hear me shaking and my voice yodeling all over the place, you guys are just making me nervous, so I guess I just have to live with that. But as long as I don't have to deal with hecklers, I think I'm probably okay. And again, I work for Rehabilitation Services for the Blind. We're a state agency that's underneath Family Support Division. And like I said in the bio, I've been working there since 1993. And in addition to that, my mother is also blind. She was born blind and raised 6 of us kids. And so I kind of got a sense, even growing up, of her journey as she did some accommodation for vision loss as she went longer and longer in life. And then some of the things that she was able to accomplish with training and devices that our agency is able to provide. So I think knowledge of these types of services are really important. You guys are incredibly knowledgeable. Just the questions that you guys were asking the doctor was really impressive. And the fact that you guys go out then and do help educate other people in the communities to spread that knowledge, I think is fantastic. And within our agency, we've also often said that blindness services are one of the best kept secrets of the state. We're not trying to keep it a secret. It's just blindness is what they call a low incidence population. You don't really know probably a lot of people undergoing a lot of vision problems, and some of those who are, you may not know it. And so because of that, you may not know the resources that are available or the assistance that's available in order to make a lot of different tasks easier or even possible after the onset of some vision. So that's kind of what we're hoping to talk to you today about. Dr. Wilson, in his speech, was talking a lot about glaucoma and about the fact of that early diagnosis is critical. And the fact that the earlier you can get diagnosed and monitored, the more likely it is that you can have a better outcome of keeping that pressure down, which keeps the damage from occurring. He also talked about the ongoing care that's needed for glaucoma, as well as a lot of other conditions. The OCT tests, the ongoing exams, visual field tests. And there's a lot of eye conditions where if you're diagnosed early, the better your chance of keeping your vision. But you do have to go to these exams and be monitored and have the treatment options. What I want to talk to you today is about some of those resources in order to help with those eye care. And PJCCMHA is going to talk to you more about, for the people who've lost vision, the techniques, the technology, the tips that are out there in order to help maximize the vision that you've got in order to lead the active life that you guys want to keep leading. So that's kind of where our focus is today. So, lots of eye exams, lots of tests, and if you're over age 65 and you have Medicare, Medicare, as you guys probably know, it doesn't have a quote-unquote vision program. It means it doesn't cover glasses and it doesn't cover routine eye exams. But there's a lot of people that you will work with who don't realize that it does cover eye exams to monitor medical conditions. Just like if you had a problem with your foot or if you had a problem with your knee, it would pay for those exams. If you have a medical problem with your eye, it will cover those exams even though it doesn't quote-unquote cover vision. And there's a lot of misinformation about that where people don't really understand that. But some of the reasons they do cover exams are if you have glaucoma suspect, or if you have a family history, or if you're diabetic, and even if you're on some certain medications or have other medical conditions that put you more at risk for some eye diseases. So Medicare does cover medical eye exams for that. It's just a matter of how they code it. Your doctor's office, their billing office, they're gonna know. So you can always call your doctor's office and say, hey, I have this, is this an exam that Medicare will cover? And they can let you know. They're pretty good about it. And that's whether it's at an ophthalmologist or an optometrist. We actually, my husband and I go to an optometrist in town, and the doctor noticed a problem with his eye muscles. They were thinking he might have had a condition called myasthenia gravis. And so she automatically coded it as a medical condition, and it went through our medical insurance rather than our vision insurance. And she's an optometrist, not an MD, like Dr. Wilson was. So other insurance is going to cover those exams as well, not just Medicare. But the literature that Glenda had sent out to me was saying that you guys work with people who are age 50 and up. Medicare doesn't start till you're 65. So what happens if you're age 50, you don't have insurance and you don't have Medicare? That's where some of this stuff is getting really scary, especially if you're low income. And there's a lot of people in the state who are in that situation. If you think about it, and the clients that we work with are low income and no insurance. And I imagine myself going to an eye doctor's office being told I have glaucoma, and the doctor saying, I want you to come back in 2 months and we're gonna do this test and I make under $800 a month and I have no insurance. That's scary. And if you're told you need surgery or you're gonna go blind, that's scary. And not everybody has been benefited by the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. So it's not an option that's been beneficial for everyone, especially low income. So MoHealthNet or Medicaid might be a possibility for some people. But as you guys may or may not know, Medicaid is not just based on income in the state of Missouri. You also have to have a diagnosed disability. Glaucoma suspect is not a diagnosed disability. You need the exams, but it's not a disability, so therefore that wouldn't automatically qualify you. In fact, for Medicaid in the state of Missouri, if the only problem you have is vision, the eligibility for that is 5/200. And let me put that in perspective for you. Legally blind is 20/200, which means that what you should be able to see from 200 feet away, you have to be 20 feet away from to see. Blind pension and Missouri Medicaid, the eligibility is 5/200, which means what you should be able to see from 200 feet away, you have to be 5 feet away from to see the same thing. So we try to get people before they get to that level of vision loss. Now, if you're eligible for Social Security disability, and so the federal government says you are disabled, Missouri does take that into consideration, and people may have other health conditions too. So it is always worthwhile to apply for Missouri Mental Health Net, but it is not going to be the answer for everybody. There's other programs that help pay for medical care. And again, you guys may be reaching people who are in this place where they're falling through all the cracks. Hospitals and similar organizations have a lot of charitable care that's available for eye care, for needed eye care. Places like St. Louis University and Washington University in St. Louis have ophthalmology departments that are fantastic and have their own charitable care programs. Mason Eye Institute in Columbia does. Mercy in Springfield is another example with a very established charitable care programs. There are also places that have federal and state grants in order to help pay for care, including places like Gateway for Better Health in St. Louis and the Truman Program in Kansas City area and Jackson County specifically. And then there's other charitable organizations that are just like self-funded, like the Lions Clubs is a big one that has a focus on eyes. Each group raises its own funds, and so each group decides how they spend their funds, and a lot of them may be able to help with adult eye care as well. There's a place called Mission Cataract St. Louis. It's part of Mission Cataract USA. It's basically a doctor who volunteers his time twice a year to do free cataract surgeries to everybody on the list. It's an awesome organization. And then Eye Care America has programs as well. You can also call the information number 211 in order to see if there's local resources also that may not be on this list that I'm aware of. We handed out a resource list to you, and a lot of that information is on the back of that, just for your reference. In addition to that, just because I want to make sure we note this, it also talks about like needy meds and some of the systems for pharmaceuticals. When he was talking about glaucoma drops, there are some drops that you can get for $4 a month at Walmart, and there's some that are $250 a month. Depending on what works for that person is going to save their vision, but that's a lot of money on some of it. And if you have insurance, that'll cover it, but if you don't have insurance, then you're in that catch-22 again and you need some help. Well, Needy Meds is one that I go to a lot, and I think there's RX Assist that's also listed on there. The pharmaceutical companies have programs to help provide free medications to people who meet their qualifications. And they're like clearinghouses. You can go there, type in the name of your drug, and it'll let you know if there's either a discount program or a free program, and you can download applications for assistance. You may find that very helpful. It's not just glaucoma medications, it's any medications that happen to be that they have for this program. So it's definitely worthwhile checking out. And then there's free places for glasses too, like respectacle.org is another place to look at. If you don't know about that resource, if you have a prescription for glasses, you can plug in what it is, and if they have one that matches, they'll mail it to you for free. Now, they have like 55,000 in their database for these glasses, so again, it may not be as good an exact match for you as if you went to the doctor, but if you don't have the money, it's a whole lot better than not having glasses. So it's definitely a resource to know about as you're out there talking to people in the community. And then there's my program, Prevention of Blindness Program. We are a state program with rehab services for the blind. Rehab services for the blind has been in legislation for Missouri residents, or at least there's legislation to help people who are blind in the state of Missouri that's been going on since I think about 1918, if I'm remembering right. And rehab services for the blind is one of the resources that we use to help them. Prevention of Blindness Program has been around since about the early 80s. Again, we specifically pay for eye care for people who are low income and no insurance. We have an application program process and all of that. We're pretty small. Right now, we are serving about 243 people across the state. But what was interesting to me when I looked up these numbers is right now, 169 of them are between the ages of 50 and 65. That's 70% of my population right now that are falling through those cracks with that and not having Medicare. So these, again, are people who have an eye condition, they need treatment, they have little income, and no insurance. And I get to hear some very interesting stories of what's happened to people. I got a call from a doctor's office once where some lady had come in, she was married and had kids, but no insurance. I think they were farmers, but no insurance. And she had gone into the doctor, well, her pressures were really, really high. And so they said she needed laser surgery right away in order to help open up those things and prevent the damage. The lady was out in her truck crying because she wouldn't want to come in and get the treatment if she didn't know that she could afford it. So she wasn't leaving her truck and coming in, even though they were going to do it and say, we'll worry about the funding later. She wasn't going to do it. They called our office. We were able to fax them an application. They were able to fill it out in the parking lot, fax it back to us, and we were able to get her the treatment that she needed because she qualified for our program. And these stories that you hear about people who are like trying to cheat the government and get all that, I more find people who are not wanting to take something if they don't know that they can't, if they don't quote unquote deserve it, or if they're taking it away from somebody else. I more find that than people who are trying to cheat and get things that they don't need. But there are a lot of people who need things and they're really resistant. But she was amazing. Not too long ago, we had a lady who was 60 years old, single, and lived by cleaning houses. So she probably had about $500 a month that she had, and she had cataracts so bad that she was around 20/200 or legally blind so obviously she couldn't see as well as she could have before, but she didn't have insurance in order to get it done. And that's something that's just going to kind of keep getting worse and worse and worse, and our program was able to provide that surgery for her. We had a lady once who actually, she was younger and she quit her job in order to move home and be a caretaker for her parents. And then she had a retinal detachment. She didn't have insurance, she had no income, and we were able to help that lady as well get the medical treatment they need. These are the people that we see every day. People's living situations. We had a lady who was living in a shed in her ex-husband's backyard rather than being homeless. I mean, these are people needing help, and you don't know the help that they need, but you can't just assume that people have a way of getting the eye care and treatment that they need. You guys probably run across a wide range of people too, but there's some really people in need. And so I feel real fortunate that I work as a part of a program that can help those people that are that desperate get the services they need in order to keep their vision and keep from going blind and keep from getting on government services then. So remember, there might be people that you're in contact that need help. And the main thing is I just really want you guys to remember that there are potentially state benefits that could help make all the difference between being able to see and not being able to see for the people. Again, we're small. We only can do what we do because doctors like Dr. Wilson and others are willing to take what we can pay in order to provide the care. So it's really a partnership, but we work with doctors across the state. And our funding is limited, which is why our program is small. So that plug for the blindness education screening and treatment fund, the best fund when you do renew the license, that goes, it doesn't pay my salary or travel, it goes to pay for those eye care services and that alone. So if you guys can talk about that, I would really appreciate it too when you're spreading the word about it. We can't help everyone, but for those that we can help, we really can change the world. So I want to turn this over to PJCCMHA, who can talk about the other programs that RSV has that work with people who've lost vision, but again, to make the most of their lives.
Okay, again, my name is PJCCMHA, and I thought I'd start off by telling my little bit of a story. I'm now 58 years old, and when I was 29, I was teaching elementary and high school music, and I went over to my mom's house one day, and I was sitting in the kitchen, and I looked at her, and I put one hand over this eye, and I said, "I can't see all your face." And she thought, "Well, what's going on?" She thought, you know, she just thought, oh, nothing's wrong. And I thought, well, maybe I had a pinched nerve. And so made an appointment with her next door neighbor, the eye doctor. Went there, he's looking at my eyes, and then he says, "Ooh, you need to go see a specialist tomorrow." I'm going, okay. So I went to a wonderful place in Kansas City, Dr. Sabatez, his eye center, and saw Dr. Felix, and he sat me down, and the first thing he said to me was, "Well, let's save the eyesight you have left." And I'm going, oh, okay. And he said, "Let's set you up for a laser surgery tomorrow." And so my mom and I stayed there in Kansas City, and the next day I was plopped in a chair with some of the interns coming in, because it was unusual for someone, I guess at my age, to have the situation that was going on. And that was that was 29 years ago. And so all the doctors looked at me, and then, so I went in for my laser surgery, and I got that fun thing, the needle in the eye, and so I didn't know it was coming the first time, so it wasn't so bad. But I've had the shots in the eye, and it's improved a lot. They numb it pretty good. It's just the nerves that are gonna get you. But I was very grateful for, again, the eye doctor, and so little by little, we found out that it was a genetic thing, and my sister had it too. She didn't let us know till 12 years later, because she didn't want our parents to worry about it. But throughout the years, I was able to adapt. So I was still able to drive because I had the good vision in my other eye, and then little, like I said, it was genetic, and every 3-4 years I lose a little in one eye, and then it started happening in the other eye. And I started getting scared, and I was searching and searching for somebody to help me. And I found rehabilitation services for the blind, and they helped me immensely. I was teaching in Russellville, high school band and choir, and I'd lost a little more vision, and they were able to help me with equipment so I could do all of my paperwork. I had this humongous computer. Back then, they weren't these little flat screens, but they provided that for me, and some tips and other equipment. And then this last time around, when I got scared again, and I called them, and the vocational rehabilitation counselor, she helped me get through things, and she was able to help me find this position. So I've been very fortunate, and I was able to make a lot of adaptations. And with the equipment that you see in front of me now, this is the magic. This is what helps us that are low vision. So I didn't see that, I knocked it over. Okay, whoa, okay, watch out, front row. But anyway, so that's my little bit of a story about where I've been, and I can tell you, even when you lose vision, I'm legally blind, but I'm able to do everything I want to do except drive. They don't want me on the road anymore, and I can't blame them. Whenever I was making my last trip from Hy-Vee to my house, I was so scared, and I was ready to give up driving. And there are, for those people that have to give up driving, there are lots of options for transportation, whether it's Handy Wheels here in town, they're great. The fixed bus route, in addition to Uber and the taxi cabs, and always friends and family to get you around. So never give up hope if you lose a little bit of vision. So that's my story. And now I go to other people's homes to help them. And our programs within RSB are the Independent Living Program, and that's for people that are under the age of 55 that don't want to work or cannot work. So we don't have very much funding for that program, so it's a lot of tips and techniques for those folks. And if they are interested in working, we have vocational rehabilitation, which helped me to procure this position that I'm in now. And we just find out what their skills are, get them hooked up with the vocational rehab counselors to help them find a job. And once they find a place where they want to work and they are employed in that place, then that's when RSB comes in and helps with equipment that can adapt to help them see whatever they need to work with. And then we have the OBS program, which I'm involved in the most, the Older Blind Services, and that's people 55 and older. And so what happens is that we get referrals. I cover 8 counties myself, and we get referrals. So we call those folks and make an appointment. I go to their home, and the first thing I'll do is check them for eligibility. And if they're eligible for our services, I just explain that we're a state agency, and all of our funding comes from state and federal tax dollars along with grant money. So that's what provides all the tips, techniques, and equipment we provide, and it's at no cost to our clients. So we're just there to help. So again, it's no cost to our clients, and they keep the equipment that we provide for them. And also, whenever we first go into the home, one of the first things that we provide for everybody, even if they're not eligible, we come to see if they are, is our large print calendar, which you might have seen around. So we provide this, and everybody, they get real excited over this because it's got a nice big space, and you can write your doctor's appointments in, or whose birthday's coming up next, things like that. And on the outside of it, there's all of the telephone numbers for prevention of blindness, and then just the general 800 number. And this is for everybody in the state of Missouri. So if you know of anybody in the state of Missouri, all they have to do is call our 800 number, and then they'll get connected to the office that provides services in their area. So this is one of the first things we provide. And then next, I sit down and we do kind of a little interview. I find out what kind of things they need. Yes?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Now that I've interrupted you.
You're fine.
Is it possible to purchase the calendar?
If you have somebody that's a friend or family member that is low vision, you can call our 800 number and they'll mail you one.
So the reason I'm asking is we're getting ready to have an Institute on Minority Health and Aging. The Institute will bring 150 people together.
Oh, yes.
And so for the Institute, we would be willing to purchase the calendar so that they can be given away at the Institute.
We could provide some for you. And
But
what
you all
area
need
are you
money.
in?
You all need money, and we have funds to support what we're doing.
And
So-
Brenda knows more about this, but we aren't able to accept donations.
We'll hook you up with the person who does the calendars, and you guys can discuss that.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll be at no cost to you. And again, like Brenda said, we're a well-kept secret. So these are our way of letting people know we're out there to help. So the more out there, the better, for sure. So one of the first things I start to talk to people about is how they get around in their home. Are you oriented to your home? Are you running into things? And if that's the nature of things, then that's just a matter of reorganizing or moving that rug on the wood floor. That's a tripping hazard. So just little tips like that for in-home. And most of the clients I run into, they have no problem with getting around in their home. They know where everything is. Then the next thing is traveling outside of the home. We have an orientation and mobility that does the white cane training. So this is just a little identification cane. So what, if they need orientation and mobility outside of the home, they travel a lot, then they come out and teach them how to sweep the white cane in front of them to check their path 3 steps ahead of themselves, and to cross streets, to negotiate curbs and steps. And that's one thing with me, the main problem I have is stairs. And if you know anybody with low vision, that's a major concern. Is that another step? Is that another stair? And then I'm bad. I just sweep my foot out in front of me and then do my little tap thing and off I go. But what this helps with is identifying the person as low vision. It's pencil thin, it's nice and light. If you're out in the grocery store, then people are more aware and more understanding and helpful. And then it can also be used to check and see if that is another stair. You just check the depth. That depth perception is kind of tricky when you're low vision. So this is something we provide, identification cane. And another thing is we have a lot of older clients and they go to church and then people will wave at them. And like right now, I can see all of you, but the detail of your faces, I can't tell if I knew exactly who you were, if it was you, until you spoke to me and I heard your voice or I knew what you were wearing. So this is great for people if they're out and about, and then when their friend does wave at them and they don't wave back because we didn't see you wave at us, then they go, oh, and it's a conversation starter and lets them know, no wonder they are not waving back at me, they can't see me very well. So we offer that, and that's kind of the explanation I give people as to the benefits of the identification cane. Okay, and then next, I'll talk to them about written communication. And something I didn't cover earlier, one thing, when we're low vision, the main things that help us is really good lighting, and like this room is very well lit. And a lot of the homes I go into, the lighting is not like this, where things are nice and clear and you can see things. So lighting is really good for any task you're doing. We provide a lot of people with a floor lamp, and so it is great for just sitting behind you, and then this nice bright light comes down onto whatever task you're doing, because that light makes all the difference in the world. And I brought this along, for example, so imagine it a lot bigger, a floor lamp or even a table lamp. And this little guy I found a while back. It's a little power flashlight, so not much bigger than an ink pen, has a battery in it. And it's good for looking in drawers, cabinets, closets, dark areas where there's not light projected right on top of things. And then it's good if you're traveling at night to light your path. So I'll show you, it's so bright in here, I don't know how much you'll see the difference, but this is the first one. So that's as bright as it'll go. So I can find anything in a closet or a cabinet, a drawer, etc. And then it has a second where it's a little bit dimmer. That might be good for going into a dark restaurant. That's always a problem. There's some places you go and you come out from the light and you go in, it's really dark, and just this little thing. And like I tell people, people are always carrying around all kinds of technology. So you're not going to stick out or don't feel like you'll be embarrassed. But to light your path so you don't run into the chairs and things of that nature, it's really helpful. And then it's got another feature on it. In case you need it, it's a little flashing red light if you have an emergency. So a pocket flashlight, great for all kinds of different tasks. And then going back, like I said, lighting is really good for people with low vision. And then also things need to be a little bit bigger or closer. Closer, if you were right here, I could see your face just fine. But distance is a difficult thing. I think the doctor kind of mentioned that too earlier. So then I was going to talk about written communication, having light on things, that makes a difference. So over time, as far as, when I lost vision little by little, I used to write beautiful cursive, and then I couldn't read it anymore. So I started printing, and I went to wide ruled paper, and then bold line paper, and now I'm to the point where, this is just what works for me, I use unlined paper, and then I write as big as what I can see back. So you kind of had to convince people to write, if there's something they're going to read back, a grocery list, a to-do list, they need to write big enough where they can see it back if it's something they want to look at later. If it's something they're going to write for somebody else, have at it. I just write normal if I'm not going to read it back. But this is an example on my unlined paper of different sizes of print, and I pretty much can read all that. So that's kind of what I do to show them, for example, and I might have them get out one of these 20/20 pens. We provide these. They are a bold writing black marker, and they make a nice bold black line, in addition to they don't bleed through the paper. So I used this on that and didn't bleed through. Like a Sharpie, I was using Sharpies way back when, and they're messy and smelly, and they bleed through the paper, and they're messy. But these are great. And so I'm going to backtrack and say that whenever we provide something for our clients, we can only provide it one time. So we cannot duplicate it. Say if they need more magnification, we've closed their case and we open them back up. I can't get them more of these, but you can get these on Amazon. There's a lot of this stuff you can get on Amazon after it's provided one time. And then next is we provide a lot of people with bold line paper. I'm able to get it in pink, and so a lot of people really like that. It adds a little more contrast. And then there's the yellow, and then the green. In addition to, if they, maybe they'll want the white paper with the black lines. So that gives them options, and I said, like, whenever we're low vision, contrast makes a big difference too. So that's why I always write on like pastels and things like that. I can see it better when I go back to read it. And then we have all kinds of tips and techniques for written communication. All right, and then cheat sheets. So that's O&M, and then that was written. And again, on written communication, as far as accessing your phone numbers and things like that, I suggest to a lot of people getting like the 5x7 cards, and I just write the name of the person, the contact on one side really big where I can read it, and on the flip side I can write their phone number. And so that's an easy way to access phone numbers. The phone book, I'll be showing you some magnifiers that if they did need to access a phone number, that they would be able to do it. Okay, so that brings me to other communications, and that would be Missouri Assistive Technology. And I'm just the middleman on that. So this is another state agency. As far as other communications, this would be for long distance communications. They can apply for an iPhone, an iPad, for a wire line, which I brought one example today. The eligibility for that is you have to have an income, adjusted gross income of $60,000 or less, Missouri resident, a working email, and that's for the iPhone and the iPad. And I know that it's a lot of information, but you can always get on the internet and look up Missouri Assistive Technology, and they have all their programs listed. And these these items, the equipment, are for people with disabilities to help them access long-distance communication. And I have a lot of people that I assist them with the applications, and again, the iPhone, iPad, and then the wire lines, or what I used to call landlines. We offer phones that have the larger keypad with a little more contrast. This one is set up to have a higher decibel for those hard of hearing, and then whenever it rings, it lights up. This is one of the more popular phones that people apply for, and it's cordless. Then also it's, whenever you press the buttons, it speaks the number. So it's a 6-5, and then you kind of know if you made a mistake and have to start over. So that helps people with low vision. Just that little bigger numbers will make a difference, and closer. Okay, so that's Missouri Assistive Technology. And then another program that I'm the middleman in is the Wolfner State Library. And they have the Wolfner Talking Book Program. And so on that, they provide all the equipment at no cost. They just, once you apply for it, they mail it to you, again, at no cost. And this is the talking book player. And so all you have, they send in the mail, the books are on these little digital recording things. Okay, so I'll tell you about the machine. So it's got a cord in the back, and it keeps a charge for 29 hours, which is really nice. So that makes it nice and portable. And then people can still, if they were an active reader, then they can still listen to their books if they like. And Wolfner also has large print books that they will mail out. They just come in these zippered covered pouches, and once you get the book, when you're done reading it, you just zip it back up, flip the card over, and it goes back to the library at no cost. And then going back to the player, the nice thing about this is if someone's low vision, the controls are different colors, they're different shapes, and then they've got some tactile things on them where if you don't see very well at all, you can feel where you're at. It has a little tutorial per button, so it talks to you. Let's see if we can get him talking. There we go.
Player on. Press any button to learn about its function. Battery charge remaining greater than 29 hours.
And any button I push, it'll give a little tutorial.
Stop. To start or stop playing the book, use the large play stop button. When the book is playing, power back player off.
So this is really handy, and it's very portable. You can take it anywhere you want to listen to your books, and then you can also get headphones. They'll send headphones if you want to read in privacy. Okay, so that's Wolfner. Okay, and then the next thing I talk to them about is personal grooming. When we're low vision, sometimes an easy task becomes a little more difficult, and I'll ask them, can you get your toothpaste on your toothbrush? And we have tips for that. And a lot of people have a hard time, the white toothpaste on the white bristles. So a couple of tips is to put the toothpaste on your finger, put it in your mouth, and then brush. Or just simply putting your pointer finger at one end, your thumb at the other end of the bristles, and then just by feeling, just taking the toothpaste from the pointer finger to the thumb. And then that's a good way of getting toothpaste on your toothbrush, or having different colored bristles. I find that children's toothbrushes are really fun. You can get Barbie or Batman, and then they have the pink and green bristles. And that has that contrast, which makes it easier to see to get that on. And then I let them know that any other products in their bathroom, if they're having a hard time identifying them, then we look at handheld magnifiers, which I'll show you here shortly, to help identify products and things of that nature. And then we do make sure they are safe in getting in and out of the shower or tub, and we give them tips for that. So that's personal grooming. And then we talk about dining, as far as can you find the food on your plate, and if they're having difficulty with that, then what we suggest is that somebody lets you know, okay, your chicken is at 6 o'clock, your green beans are at 3 o'clock, and your mashed potatoes are at 12 o'clock. So if you have somebody to help you like that, that makes a difference. Or something as simple as maybe having like this tablecloth here, a white tablecloth, and then a high contrast plate with sections on it, and that makes it easier to locate and find your food. So that's dining. And then I ask them about if they do any meal preparation. We have lots of tips and techniques to help with that. A lot of people 55 and older are using the microwave a lot, and so we provide these bump dots, and these are these rubbery raised dots that you just stick on your microwave at the numbers where it's going to work the best. Sorry. And then I have to ask, am I doing okay?
You got about 5 minutes.
I've got 5 minutes, okay, because I was wondering, because I get talking and man, you just can't stop me. So I'm just gonna go over equipment because I could go on forever. And I spend about an hour and a half with that person finding out what do you want to do that's very difficult because of your low vision. And so I try to find every tip, technique, and a piece of equipment to help them live their daily life so it's not so tedious. So things like handheld magnifiers, I use a 10, but my low vision doctor, you know, it was kind of overwhelming. A 10, I have to have a 10, not a 3.5. I can see more, but with this, I can read 20/20. And I have to get it up this close, but I can scan anything and read almost as quickly as I used to. So this was great. And then I'll have these things up here for you to look at. This is the 3.5 handheld magnifier. These are Eschenbachs. They're great. You can't find them on the shelf at Walmart or Walgreens. That's going to be at places like Physicians Optical. They carry Eschenbach, Mason Eye Institute, us, free. So again, it's got a great light on it and it magnifies really well. Then I always like to get people set up with reading glasses. These are great for spot reading. I use them for my phone. I use them for the thermostat and the remote control. These specifically have lights on them. And so that makes it really nice if you're in a dark area, you're at a restaurant, you can't read the menu, you can use these. You don't have to have somebody read the menu to you anymore. You can use those. And then one lady, this was a godsend to her, was her grandson played ball. She could never see him. He was pitching, but she couldn't see him. So we got her hooked up with some binoculars, and she said, "Kamea, I can see him pitching." So she was so excited. And I took him to a Cardinals game, my pair, and I could see every batter. And without this aid, I couldn't. But now I can go to a concert and watch things like that. And then there are little mobile things. I carry one of these in my pocket. I call it my little turtle. And it's just a little magnifier. So when I go shopping, I either take this little guy or this little guy, and I know what the price is, the size, product information. So I am more independent. And that's what we're there for, is to help these people be more independent and to do the things they've always done before, but with our equipment to help. And then extended reading, that is the electronic magnifier. I brought the Snow 7 today. So once it gets up and going, you just put this magnifier over your reading material and it will magnify it 2 to almost 20 plus times. It has different contrast on it, a black, white, yellows, greens, whatever is easier for you for reading. Okay, so so at this time, I'll turn it back over to Brenda.
Well, and we'll basically open it up to questions, but again, our main point is just for you guys to realize that there's a world out there of stuff that's available to help with people who are either needing help with medical appointments or needing assistive technology, the stuff that Kamea deals with in order to maximize their life. So. Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay, no questions.
Now there's questions.
Purchase that, what's that called?
The electronic magnifier?
Yes, can you purchase?
Yeah, Maxi Aids is a place that you can purchase this, but if you know somebody with low vision, best to have us come out and check them for eligibility to see if they are eligible, we can provide that for them at no cost. But Maxi Aids, independent living aids, those are resources. I wouldn't get them off of Amazon or the internet because they're way overpriced.
Well, and even some of these magnifiers like Eschenbach, I mean, they can easily be like $130 and stuff, can't they?
Well, I did some shopping for the handhelds, and they were asking like, we get them a lot cheaper. So because retail, I don't know, but $100, you're gonna pay $300 or $500 off Amazon for one of these little guys. But your best bet is to go to Physicians Optical. You'll get a good price there. But there are other handheld magnifiers out there through Maxi Aids. I personally just really love Eschenbach. If you want, it has a lifetime warranty on it. It's just good quality equipment that you don't want to ever lose.
I want to see the glasses that light up.
Yeah. I'll bring them to you.
Yes.
Now these are 5s. These are pretty strong, so you'll just have to judge the distance that works. But who is asking? Okay. And yeah, there you go. And I turned the lights on already for you. And then you just have to find a distance that doesn't make you dizzy.
Clear, but I just wanted to see the light, you know,
Mhm.
it's like when you're in a restaurant, sometimes the menus are tiny
Mhm.
and then it's dark.
Yeah, and then just a flashlight. I love,
Oh, yes.
yeah, just a flashlight would
Yes.
help, any kind of a flashlight.
Or your phone?
Or your phone is good too. And there are magnifiers you can get on your phone.
But I think one of the benefits of having someone like PJCCMHA come out too is there's probably no end of stuff you can buy, but is that really helpful for the vision that you've got? Yeah, and so, PJCCMHA works with people day in and day out with different technologies and devices and can give guidance, even if it's something we can't purchase. I think you guys do a good job of giving guidance to people about, this is kind of wasting your money, or this is a really good brand. We've had a lot of luck with it. So maybe basically some guidance from someone who's not making any money off of it can be a good thing.
Any more questions? Going once, twice?
I have one little issue, because my daughter has a CCTV at home, and she needs that to even read from her phone and stuff. But when we go away from home, she can't carry that big old CCTV, and so it would be neat if she had that little thing.
Yeah, just a little handheld magnifier,
Well, no,
the electronic,
that
this little guy. Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Call Re-Up Services for Blind. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Huh?
But I know you. I have to go to the gym.
Yeah, you gotta go through the channel.
Sideboard.
I can't get you in the end.
Well, please join me in a big round of applause. They were fantastic presentations. At this time, before we transition, I don't know if you know Miss Yvonne Matthews, but I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Miss Yvonne Matthews. She is the Associate Administrator of Cooperative Extension and also the Coordinator for the Quality Quarter Center on Minority Health and Aging. All right.
putting on my extension, Paul J. Carter eyeglasses and seeing what would be good for Mima. I know that your time must be very limited. However, would it be possible, at least for Kamea, to have a booth at at our conference?
And where is your conference?
It will be in Columbia.
In Columbia?
She's also doing glaucoma screenings at the Lima conference.
Okay, there you go.
So that would be good, but I think people will be interested in some of the assistive technology. So would that be, and it would be on the Tuesday of the conference most of the day. Can you spare that much time for us?
Let's look at our calendars and we can get back to you on that,
Okay.
if that's okay. Yeah, I know I'm going to be there doing the glaucoma screenings, but we can talk to see if their staff has the ability to come with us as well.
Because I think that would be,
Yeah, okay.
that would be very helpful.
Okay.
And we
I know,
can
she's
talk.
a lot more entertaining than I
No, I don't.
I've got toys.
I don't, exactly. So I don't know that she's more entertaining, but she has stuff. And her stuff is interesting. For people who, if you just, I remember being at church many, many, many years ago. And for those of you who know Reverend Dawson, he went to say something and he reached in his suit pocket and pulled out a little tiny Bible. And he opened it and then he shifted it 25 times to be able to read the scripture. There was a young person sitting on the front row in front of him and started laughing. He said, "My brother, just wait." He said, "There are not a lot of guarantees in life, but keep getting older. And you'll remember the days that you laughed at me because I couldn't see." And so people going through the conference, whether they technically qualify for your services, there's some things on your table that will just, the knowledge of that will make you think, okay, it's not like I'm going to have less vision and can't function. I mean, it's just, I find it all very hopeful. Those glasses with the lights, oh my. Oh my. I almost stood up and shouted.
It's paid to have stuff.
Yeah, it is.
It helps, yeah. Daily living gets you through.